the Madman!
Welcome to the Top Custom Cards of the Week, episode 14. Let's start off with a Battery Accusation. A warrior spell, choose a minion, destroy it after you play a mech. Design, 5 stars. Balance, 5 stars. Totally could see this card having been printed in this set even. The mini set having all sorts of accusation cards and destroying them after doing something. This one would have pushed warrior in a mech direction, which would have been weird, but you know, could have just been printed without any intention of this being usable this set, and then next set is like the mech warrior set or something. That would be cool foreshadowing. And the wording on the card of battery is very clever. I used to question English translations of dual meanings, maybe not translating other languages, but after Maw and Disorder and all of its many puns, I've decided, you know, this is fine, and is, in fact, apparently even encouraged. So very good. Next up, we got a neutral legendary. Questline. Gather ingredients. 1 mana. Questline, have 2 friendly beasts die. Reward mystery meat. Mystery meat is 0 mana spell, which restores a friendly minion to full health. The next step of the questline is cook the soup. Questline, play 2 elementals. Reward bland broth. The bland broth is 1 mana, give a friendly minion +3/+3. And then the final part of the questline, invite friends. Play 3 minions with different tribes. Reward delicious soup. This is the real payoff. For 3 mana, you can give your minions +3/+3, and for the rest of the game, your minions restore to full health at the end of your turn. This is actually a mechanic in Magic the Gathering where by default, every single minion creature you have regenerates to full health if it's not destroyed in a creature combat. So that gives that ability to all of your minions. And this delicious soup is actually a combination of the bland broth and the mystery meat. When you put the mystery meat into the bland broth and maybe you mix it up with yet another minion type, you get your delicious soup, which combines the 2 abilities to give every minion +3/+3 and restore all friendly minions to full health each turn. Wow, such flavor. Design, 5 stars. Balance, 5 stars ? In that this would require a lot of testing because it is a neutral quest line, so you'd have to test every class with it, but you'd have a pretty good idea. Like obviously if you have beasts and elementals as 2 of the main minion types, you'd want to test out Hunter or Druid for the beast side, Mage, Shaman for the elemental side. You'd want to test those mainly, and then you'd want to test like a few swarmy decks, so like maybe a Warlock Zoo deck. Basically any deck that ran a lot of small minions. Having all your minions restoring to full health at the end of your turn, each turn, is it that good? I actually don't know. My gut instinct is that this is too weak currently. The mini quest rewards for the first 2 parts of the quest line aren't very impressive, and you do have to build your deck pretty differently, including beasts and elementals and at least a 3rd minion type. It's an interesting idea, and the fact that it's neutral means that there's a lot of flexibility in deck building. Any class could use it. But yeah, very flavorful, and that's not just for the pun. Next up, we got Display of Might for Warrior. 4 mana spell, summon 3 minions from both players' decks. At the end of your turn, shuffle them back. Design, 2 stars though, and balance 2 stars. It is such a niche use that I don't believe the design is good. It pulls minions from your decks and the opponent's deck, so it's part advancement if your guys have like Rush, or if it's from Mornia and then like it turns into something you equip. And when you pull from the opponent's side, you're hoping to kill key combo pieces, and I guess you can not kill the things that are useless and then have them shuffle back. From that perspective, it's a little bit interesting, but it's just so niche that like it doesn't really fit. It doesn't have enough use to be good, and it's currently like underpowered, I'd say. And if you did decide to balance it by making it, I don't know, 2 mana, it would become a potential disruption tool, but it just feels like it's not affecting enough of the game. Oh, the other thing I have a problem with design-wise is the fact that it's rare. It should definitely be an epic for such a weird effect. Next up, we have quite an involved one. Lazul, the All-Knowing. A 2-mana 3/2 legendary with Battlecry. If your deck has no duplicates, create and cast a custom secret. The first option is to pick the main way to trigger the secret. It's either when your opponent does something, or when an enemy minion does something, or the next time your turn starts. So let's talk about when your opponent plays. Then you get another option. You get to choose either spell, minion, or 3 cards in a turn. If it's minion or spell, you can counter it, or add a copy to your hand, costing 0, or just summon a random 4-cost minion. If it's 3 cards in a turn, you can deal 9 damage to the enemy hero, or summon a 7/7 Faceless with Taunt, or destroy 2 random enemy minions. When you choose protection, which is when an enemy minion does something, you can choose when the enemy minion attacks your hero, attacks one of your minions, or deals 5 or more damage, in which case you can then destroy that minion, deal 3 to all enemy minions, or return the minion to its owner's hand, making it cost more. In the case that you choose preparation, which is just when your turn starts, you can choose either draw 3 or give your minions +2/+2 or cast 2 random secrets. So that's a lot involved in the card. It's actually too much, and for that I'm gonna have to dock the design despite such a cool idea. Design 4 stars, balance 3 stars, drastically overpowered. Now that I've covered it all, did you notice that this said create and cast the custom secret? All of these secrets are stronger than even the 3-mana secrets. This card would clearly be something that would very much pull you towards building a deck with no duplicates, a Highlander deck, so you could get the very powerful effect of. Now indeed, you would want to have a very powerful effect like this. It's just as is, it's a little too strong. So perhaps a combination of 2-mana 2/2, doesn't necessarily have to be Lazul. Perhaps a combination of toning down a number of these options. There is too much going on with it. Each time a secret of Lazul is played, your opponent has so many different permutations to go off of. Great idea. Currently a little too much going on, and currently too powerful. Far too powerful. Next up, we got the Crone, 8-mana 7/7 legendary. Spellburst, replace your hero power with a copy of the spell. Very interesting effect where that replaced hero power costs the same as the spell. If you cast Time Warp somehow, you can just have 5 mana, take an extra turn, which obviously means you win the game, but hey, maybe you deserve to. There's some potentially overpowered stuff such as the Time Warp, but more annoying stuff such as Ice Block could be overpowered. Now, despite that, I'm going to give the design and balance 5 stars apiece. The card rightfully costs a lot of mana, so it is difficult to cast it on the same turn as an overpowered spell that you could repeat as your hero power. Most of the time, you can only cast something that costs 0, 1, or 2. While that does have a lot of different effects, they probably could all reasonably work. Nothing I can think of that would be too overpowered. There was a good idea in the Reddit comments that since it's neutral, there's just so many factors to think about, so many classes it could be broken with. For example, in Druid, you have Guff, where you can go to 20 mana, and then you could actually cast the Crone, like a massive 10 mana Convoke spell, and then hit that 10 mana button each turn, and then eventually you're bound to win. So perhaps this is a class-specific card. You know, really creative, but should be limited to a class, and I decided not to dock a point because it was such a novel idea. And it possibly could be okay as neutral, but very, very hard to balance, and like you'd have to keep dodging a lot of different designs. Next up, we got Soul-Shackled Krul. Warlock legendary, 6-mana 7/9 demon with whenever this minion takes damage, your hero takes it instead. It's a pretty big effect. Design 4 stars, balance 5 stars. The design is a little bit off because it's one of those cards that nearly single-handedly defeats a number of decks. You know, you put Taunt on it, and a lot of the aggro decks just fold because each time they attack and deal damage, they die. So, really big effect, and sometimes you randomly lose. I played against War, you might get shield slammed. I don't think it would necessarily be too overpowered at the moment, which is why I decided to give that balance of 5 stars, but it would feel very, very bad to play against this. Or, alternatively, it's so useless to play it because there are decks out there with Shield Slam or something like that, which make you lose if you play Krul. Cards being that polarized isn't good. Next up, we have Patronizing Parrot, 3-mana 3/3 Beast for Priest. Battle Cry. Repeat the last Battle Cry your opponent played. Oh, so good! It's the trump card of the week! Oh, that's so beautiful. This very much mirrors the Macaw of Shaman, which is also a 3-mana card, which repeats the last Battle Cry you played. That card is actually ridiculously strong. This card is weaker than that card, which is good, because, I mean, you're comparing this card with a very, very overpowered, arguably overpowered card. But that card has caused issues. This is so priest-like, where, you're stealing from your opponent and copying it and making it your own. And, someone in chat came up with, the perfect voice line for this. Squawk! Secret agent coming through. Squawk! It's just so annoying. The name is so good. It's patronizing you. Good value card, and does really different things depending on what opponent you play it against. Sure to be a favorite, and a card that would be complained about if your opponent was Priest, which is very, very good. That's when you know you've made a successful Priest card. Next up, we got Stitching Lessons for Hunter. 3-mana, twin spell, craft a custom Zombeast. Design, 5 stars. Balance, 4 stars. What does crafting a custom Zombeast do? You might have forgotten that if you didn't play with Deathstalker Rexar. First, you get offered Beast, which has only a bolded ability or no ability, and the stat line. And then you get another 5-mana or under Beast with a ability. Add up their stats together, and that's the Zombeast. So the Zombeast tends to be better, stronger than a typical card, since you're combining 2 cards into 1 card. So Stitching Lessons is therefore, could be argued to be draw a very good card. And because it's twin spell, the first one gives you another one of those. So this could definitely be priced at 2, at which point it would be a pretty interesting card. And I love cards that give Hunter value. This is a good value Hunter card. Next, we got another warrior. This was a very warrior-lovey week. King Gurgle, warrior legendary elemental, 6-mana 3/7 with taunt. Battlecry, for the rest of the game, your minions have +2 attack during your opponent's turn. Design 4 stars, balance 5 stars. Really picky dock of point on the design. But the name is just that bad. I don't think Gurgle is a good name for an elemental. Gurgle is very associated with Murlocs. Should have been any other elementalish sounding name, or even just King. But yeah, King Gurgle, blah. I think the effect is cool. Just how good is that ability, especially since not necessarily all of your minions have taunt, but it's still useful because they deal more damage when attacked by other minions. How strong is this? I'm not entirely sure. Cool flavor to grant all of your minions the tar ability. Finally, a very upvoted card, very popular. A meme card, but I love it when the memes are also functional. It's Transmogrifier for Shaman. 5-mana, 5/5, Battlecry. Upgrade the cheapest minion in your hand to a 6-mana, 6/7. Just take the old card, replace the mana cost and stats with 6-mana, 6/7. It's Ogreified. Good stats for cost. Of course, Boulder Fist Ogre is a very, very popular card in the Hearthstone, and especially in the Hearthstone meme community. Your good stats for cost card, overpowered card, ogre-powered card, and Transmogrifier is such a good play on words, especially if you were to spell it differently. If you were to replace the I in Ogreifier with an E, then it'd be a Transmogrifier. That's so good! So I recommend changing the name, but Design 5 stars, balance 5 stars, meme rating 5 stars. It's perfect. I think this could make it into the game. You could possibly make it a little bit stronger, but it's got a lot of interesting applications. You could turn a useless token card, like for example, this is Shaman, so you could turn a Piranha from Schoolin into a 6 mana 6/7 with Rush, so it seriously upgrades what's a pretty minor card into like a pretty useful card. You could cheat out cards, like suppose you're playing a really big deck and you somehow end up with that as your cheapest minion. You could make that 10 mana card be a 6 mana card. This has a lot of interesting applications to it, and transmogrifying things is actually very in spirit for a shaman. Very flavorful, where they try to evolve, mutate, and transmogrify. That's totally something I can see shamans doing. Would have been Trump card of the week on another week. Just Patronizing Parrot is so good also. Really cool cards this week. Looking forward to seeing what people transmogrify next week.